Well, welcome to Tuesday Motivation and Conversation, and it's the Visionary Voices Minus One. And we are having a conversation tonight about the upcoming fall seminar for Visionary Voices Empowerment Circle. How you doing, ladies? How y'all doing?
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Great.
How are you?
Ready
Yes.
again.
Yes, excited.
Good, 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 good. So I got some extra stuff going on here, so I want to make sure I get that taken care of. Good job, doing good. So we are going to dive into a conversation tonight. Um, we did a seminar back in July, and it was absolutely phenomenal. And we had some amazing feedback. And of course, we cover the four areas in this empowerment circle of mindfulness, clarity, confidence, and wellness. And I tell you, it was some life changing information that was shared. And I think it just made a difference for the people that were in the room. Um, to looks like we got our minus one maybe joining us. So but we had an opportunity to impact people, and it really made a difference in how I think, people showed up for themselves after the fact. And meaning, they took that information to heart. They started really thinking about it, digesting it, processing it, and after doing so determined how they could apply that for their lives. And thusly they came to a decision or a point, an inflection point of saying, hey, I need a little bit more. I want to go a little bit deeper. I could take a little bit more of that, because what I did get, that first dose, really made a difference and changed my life. And so we're so excited to be doing the second seminar rather, in the fall, which is going to be happening October 18th and 2025. And so if you have not gotten your ticket already, it's too late for the early bird because it ended yesterday. So on the 22nd. And so, of course, this is Tuesday motivation and conversation. And so now, okay, it's 97. So I hope that you got your ticket for the $47, because that was the early bird special. But I'm telling you, it is well worth the investment and your time. So tonight we just want to kind of expound a little bit on the things that we kind of covered in that first session. And, I want to just kind of hear how you ladies feel, and, what's your excitement, and what's your expectation for this upcoming fall seminar? So I'm gonna say, Sharice, start us off tonight and just talk to us about that first seminar, how it felt, the feedback you got, and what are you thinking and what are you feeling for the upcoming seminar that's happening on the 18th of October.
Yes, yes. I was so excited going into the first seminar, just knowing what we were going to bring and just the impact of having four coaches. Who does that? So
Yeah,
I was like really excited for what we were going to bring and all the information and the action steps that would get to be able to move to the next stage right away. It wasn't a
absolutely.
waiting period. It wasn't something that say, okay, well, let me process it, come back next week. No, you could actually take things away and actually implement it to your life right away. And so I was excited
Exactly.
about that. And then afterwards, all the ladies that were there, just the responses and how
Hmm.
excited they were, and
Yeah,
they were pumped up. They were like really ready to, move and make some changes in order to get to where they wanted to go. So when we decided to have a second seminar, and it happened so soon, because we were like, wow, they really want this. And so when we
absolutely.
decided to do it again, I was like, man, this is really making some traction. And to bring in men and women this time, it's just going to be extra, extra special, because now
Absolutely.
we're able to really give that to everyone, and having all the coaches with all these different expertise bringing things. It's like a full circle effect. So I'm really excited
Absolutely.
about that.
Absolutely. You bring up something super important for us to just expound on for a minute. This is not a women's conference. This is not a women's workshop. This is not a women's seminar. This is an empowerment, an impact seminar for anybody. Because every area impacts everybody. And so we're not talking to just women. What we are discussing and talking about, mindfulness, clarity, um, confidence and wellness, impacts everybody. I was just sharing with the ladies before we came on the air that I just experienced someone in my, well, matter of fact, my brother having a heart attack. And so we have to be well and we have to know the signs and the things that are happening in our body. You know, our minds need to be clear because the stress affects us as well. When we're not clear, that brings on stress. So all of these things, well, if we're better in these areas, it helps us to live a more peaceful life and walk more confidently in the things that God's called and purposed us to do. So this is for everybody. And I don't care whether you are Gen Z, Gen Y, Gen A, Gen B, whatever letter of the gen you are, come on in the room. So,
Mhm.
and I want to say, of course, our host, what the cornerstone of this event, of course, is going to be at the Urbane Collective. I guess she'll get in the room here in a minute. I think she's having some technical difficulties, but it's taking place at the same location, 1301 Custer Road, Suite 822. I mean 822, and or is it 882? It's on the flyer. Y'all will see it. But anyway, I get them numbers mixed up sometimes, but anyway, uh, we will be at the Urbane Collective, and that's where you can register as well. And we'll definitely touch back on that before we leave tonight. So, Sean, what are your
Yeah.
thoughts about what
Well,
went on before? What's coming up? I know it was some good stuff happening during that first seminar.
I had a good time. I think the big
Yeah,
thing is just we had fun. I'll
we
start
did.
there to say we had fun. And that
Yeah,
goes from just, I think the ease in which we were able to communicate with everybody in the room, the fact that I was able to learn from you all, and get a free seat, into the place. But the other part too is I look at it as a reset.
yeah,
It's a reminder that sometimes we just got to press the tap out button
mm-hmm,
to fill our cup
yep,
so that we can then go back out and do the work. So I really just enjoyed myself and had an opportunity to just like, hey, this is a reset. This is
yes,
Yes.
nothing but a
absolutely,
reset. So it was really
absolutely,
good. Just a great, I mean, everybody that was there, we had a good time. We could talk to everybody in the room. We had enough room for everybody, and it was a
absolutely,
comfortable setting. So
absolutely.
I had a great
Yes.
time. Great
Yes.
time.
Good, good, good,
Yes.
good, good. Yeah, it was one of the I think the most impactful parts of the seminar to me was the Q&A.
Mm,
Because during the Q&A, when people are engaging, they're asking questions, and they're getting answers to those questions. They're processing what they have heard.
True.
And oftentimes, and you'll have people in the room that may not ask a question or ask the same type of question, but they still got answers to questions that were not asked because there's always unasked questions because we're asking ourselves questions during the time that we're hearing information, especially when we're engaged. And then as things are being said and discussed, we're still asking ourselves questions. And so the questions get answered holistically by everybody that's in the room and even the persons who ask questions. And so I thought just having that ample time for that Q&A, and the Q&A was, like I said, it was the most impactful part to me because that's how you know people were engaged. That's how you know they were listening. That's how you know they were plugged in, right?
yeah.
And they were really absorbing what was being shared. And so I was really excited about that part and the fact that people were taking notes. These days and times. Now I do a retreat or a conference called Pen to Paper, and so I'm definitely very intentional about people writing. But when people write on their own, that says a lot about the content, the atmosphere, the environment, and people are really trying to um, take in that information because most times people are trying to just snap a picture or type some notes in the phone, and we know how that is. We are so detached from that once we are out of that setting. But when you take ample notes and you got it in some kind of notebook or something that you frequent all the time, you're going to go back and you're going to go through that information and you're going to try to figure out where you have gaps, what you got, what you missed. So I thought that was just so amazing. And then we had people to take the opportunity to share with us their feedback and their takeaways or their walkaways. And so I think that is so important. So let's talk about um, and then, of course, Tyranny did mindfulness. And I thought that was so good because it started out the seminar and just got us in a mindset and a frame of listening We were calm. We just kind of taken some deep breaths. And I thought that was just so amazing to start out that way because I learned so much in just the first session, and that was just breathing properly. And I think since that time, I've been trying to practice that because, you don't even realize you walk around every day and you're not even breathing properly,
That's true.
So, and how important breathing is, and we just take it for granted. Oh, you're going to wake up in the morning, you're going to be breathing properly and all this, that, and the other. And so, and how that impacts our bodies internally. And so I thought it was just so very, very beneficial and educational. So let's talk about this next round.
Hmm.
What's your expectation? Because we're going a little deeper this time, and so we definitely want to encourage you. If you were not a part of the first one, you want to be in the room. I'm telling you, you want to be in the room. The things that we cover, I'm going to be talking more about the framework of clarity. I know Sean's going to be going a little bit deeper relative to. Uh, Sugar and wellness holistically, and of course, we got the expertise in the room. Everybody's, kind of been doing what they've been doing for a long time. Sean's a long time nurse, 20 plus years, 25, what, 25 plus
26.
years?
26.
26. So in that health field, so she knows what she's talking about. So this is just not stuff she pulled off Chat GPT. So I'm just telling y'all, this is experience. This is
Experience.
experience in the room, experience in the
Experience.
room. So this is experience in the room.
Exactly.
So it's not just, not just practical, but scientifically and from the perspective of practice information. And so this is information you could take to the bank and it works. And I'm a living witness. I'm a testimony that it works. It has worked for me and it's still working. And so you want to be in the room to hear this. So ladies, if you've been taking Majaro or whatever these other shots are, and you've been having issues and you 50 plus, you need to be in the room. Men, if you've been taking a shot and you got problems, or whatever kind of issues, hypertension, diabetes, mind fog, whatever, you need to be in the room so you can learn some of these practical tips and information. And of course, she'll talk about it. I'm just going off the rails about it because I think it's so important that in this season of time that we take care of ourselves and we educate ourselves and we learn. And then we got to learn how to listen to our bodies because our bodies tell us stuff. And so if we're not paying attention, we miss it. So when your body's telling you something or things are normal and you know it's not the same, you feel different, figure out what's going on. Um, and I know we all play doctor and we get on Google, but at the end of the day, reach out to somebody so that you can connect the dots and find out what's happening. But yeah, kind of talk to us about Sean, what you're expecting as far as this next level and going a little bit deeper in this round.
Yeah. Yeah. So this time I really just am gonna make it plain and simple. I know
Yeah,
people kind of maybe get tired of me talking about sugar, but I can't stop. But
yeah.
what I do is this time we'll go and we'll make some connections between the food that we're eating, our
Mm-hmm.
mood, and how that's impacted by the food that we're eating, and also our money. Because I
Mm-hmm.
think the myth was going around, right? There was a myth that we all have had to say that ain't true no more, which was,
Uh-huh.
um, you know, um, that healthy food or eating healthy was expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But now we can no longer say that.
Mm-hmm.
We can't say, you junk food is expensive right now. So
Right. Everything is expensive.
we can't even rely on those old myths that used to drive our
Mm-hmm.
behavior.
So
And then
true.
we all know it. Hangry. There's a candy bar that speaks to that, right? So we
Mm-hmm.
know that we've had these true, real life experiences that are related to what we've eaten. And
Mm-hmm.
so what I'm going to try to get everyone to do is to start checking in with themselves and then learning what time you should check in with yourself after
Yeah.
you've had something to eat. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll get deep into that, the food, mood, money connection, and I think that we will have a lot of good time. I've got some activities lined up for us,
Well,
which will
good.
give us some, just some real life situations that we can apply, and
Absolutely.
we'll just make it fun and make it real.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the thing that I will add to that is to encourage everybody, and it's not a major, it's not like you going on this, you know, um, expansive fast or anything like that. There are
Mm,
small changes that you can make that will make a huge amount of difference in your life, in your health, in your weight, the whole nine. You can make simple changes. I know for me, there were simple changes, but it was educational perspectives for which I did not know that helped me to make some of those changes. And so I'm still evolving and still learning and still trying to establish different regimens that work for me on a consistent basis relative to meals and stuff like that. But this is going to be good food, mood, and money. I think that's amazing. It's going to be exceptional. And of course, this time we're going to be going even deeper. So you're going to have to be in the room to find out what that's all about. But we're taking this and even deeper. So we'll talk about that the day of. So you got to be in the room to find out what that's all about. But I'm telling you, people are making differences in their lives by getting this information. So I'm excited to hear that. And the engagement and the activity, because people absorb that and they walk, because the residue gets on them at that point. So when you walk out of it, you can't say, well, I didn't know that. Oh no, yeah, you do, because you were engaged, you were part of it. And so that kind of gets that anointing gets on you, so to speak. One of
And
the
I'll
things
say this
that
too.
yeah,
I'm sorry. I was
go
going to
ahead.
say, I say this too, Bridget. I think sometimes we really forget how much we need each other.
Yeah.
And so we do this whole thing where we're trying to heal and we're trying to fix our own situation
Yep.
in
Yep.
isolation. But we're not
Mm-hmm.
designed to be in isolation when we're
So
healing.
true. So
So you
true.
gotta come out, and you gotta come out with your jeans or your shorts and your t-shirts and your flip-flops or whatever you want to,
Just
or your
come.
business
Yes.
suit. Just
Yeah.
come in the room as comfortable as you are,
Yeah.
because we do need each other. We
Absolutely.
need your
Yeah.
energy matters. When you come into the room, your energy matters.
Absolutely.
You're either gonna bring it up or
Absolutely.
you're gonna bring it down. So
Absolutely.
we need that. We need your questions. We need to provide answers, because it's not just you. It's somebody else that
Absolutely.
maybe needs to hear the answer as
So
well.
true.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're coming
Yes.
on that day not to impress, but we're coming to make deposits. And we're coming to
Yes.
make deposits that you can bank on making withdrawals. You know what I'm saying? And we want you to we want you to make withdrawals of the deposits that we make and then utilize that to increase your life
Yes.
so that you can have a life that is also wealthy in knowledge and
Hmm.
education and also in wellness. So
Yes.
it's going to be
Yes.
amazing. And so here again,
Yes.
come comfortable, come to receive, but also come to enjoy because you're going to learn
Hmm.
something. And so we keep it light. We keep it light. So we're not in there, and like
Right.
nuns, we're in there and we're going for it, and
Yeah.
we're handling the business. So I'm excited about that. And like I said, the other thing I was going to mention, because of course we already did this in the first seminar, and this was when you talked about reading labels. And there were just things I did not know about that combination and how to read it. And I think it's just a lack of knowledge. It's stuff we don't know. And so
Yeah,
when we don't know what those things mean, it can be detrimental to us when we don't consider, a lot of times people look at these bags and they see calories and they think that's the whole bag. No, baby, that's a serving. There may be 12 chips. And it's
right.
it's 50 chips in the bag. So
Yes.
if you eat all 50 chips, you done tripled the amount of
Hmm.
calories as well as the nutritional facts that are listed there. So just knowing, from an educational perspective, that's just a little tip I wanted to throw out there. So learning how to read that properly can make a big difference, huge difference in your daily diet, in whatever it is that you're consuming. Just knowing, because if we learn how to do things in moderation, that makes a difference too. But when we learn how to read these labels appropriately, and so that was something that you covered, and I thought that was so profound. And that was just one little tip that I think could
Oh
make a
yeah.
huge difference for a lot of people not really understanding how that nutritional, that
Mhm.
table works, how that chart really
Oh yeah.
works.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it helped me a lot because knowledge is power. And that is big time because just from that seminar and learning to read the labels, I cannot go somewhere without reading a label
I'll
now
read.
because you really and you look at the carbs, you're like, okay, I'm not looking at the carb, look at the carbs and the sugar because it's gonna all
Mm-hmm.
equate to the same thing. So it makes you think and slow down enough to say, okay, let me just not throw everything in my cart. Let me take the time to really look at these labels and make sure they're
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
consistent with what my goals are.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Okay.
heard somebody say when you made that statement, knowledge is power. I heard somebody say in a seminar I was in, training session I was in last week. Knowledge and power is the implementation of the knowledge. Because often, and I thought I was like, I'm using that. But it's
That
so
is
true
good. It
because
is. Till you implement it,
until we implement the knowledge that we get, it ain't no
it's
power in
nothing.
it
That's
because we don't
right.
make no changes. There's no transformation. So transformation does not happen until there is implementation. And so that
Yes,
comes from the
absolutely.
information that we
Ooh, I
get, and
love that.
illumination comes out of the information we get. But it ain't just about the information, it's about the illumination of what it is that we take and implement the implementation that therefore causes transformation. So I'm saying, men, gentlemen, little, ladies, gentlemen, young adult, young lady, young man, if you need to make some changes and you want to transform your life, you need to get this information because if you implement it, it will in fact transform your life. So talk to us a little bit about this whole confidence piece. What's our next
Oh,
level? What can we expect?
yes.
What are you adding to the pot this time? You stirring it up?
Yes. Yes, I am. We're gonna start peeling back those layers.
Yeah.
Why are you sitting in the level of confidence that you're in? And peeling back those layers makes you realize you have to decide that you want to be confident. It's not just, okay, I just, I don't know. You have to decide, just like anything that you want to do in life, you have to make the decision first before you
Mm-hmm.
start to implement and start to take action. You have to make the decision in your mind that I'm ready to make these changes, because when you decide to be confident, you have to change habits. You have to
Mm-hmm.
change the way you think, the way you talk to yourself. So it's peeling back
Mm-hmm.
those layers, whether it's fear from, childhood traumas, all those things. You have to
Yeah.
peel back those layers. So we're getting a little bit deeper and getting a little bit more into the core of why you should decide, where that is the first step of when you
Mm-hmm.
start walking in your confidence, is peeling back that layer and
Yeah.
knowing this is what I want to do, and I want to work at it every day to get to where I'm trying to go, and not just a surface level type thing, or I'm going to get my hair and nails done and
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to feel
Yeah.
good. No,
Yeah.
because and I think that's one of the things that we're working on anyway, is really from the inside out. Everything that we're talking about is working from the inside out. It's confidence has nothing to do with the way you dress and the way you look. It's the way you feel. It's the way you feel about yourself. It's the way you love
Mm-hmm.
on yourself. It's the way you decide that you want to do things different in
Yeah.
order to build that muscle. So that's one of the things we're going to be getting a little deeper with this time, is peeling back
Awesome.
some of those
Awesome.
layers.
Yes. Yes. And I think, clarity is going to kind of be sandwiched in between the mindfulness and the confidence. And, one of the things that I have just been taking notice of, just from a general perspective, is that a lot of times we can't get clear because we're trying to process too much. And, we have a problem with we're trying to do everything, be everywhere all at the same time because social media, this technology age has, got us in all the things. And we're trying to be in all the things. We're trying to be a part of all the things. And then we're not fully processing all the things. Just a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there. So you don't have a whole picture or realistic understanding of even who you are as an individual so that you can obtain clarity, number one, so that you can even be confident about a particular thing or of who you are. So you can't clearly know who you are, what you are, and why you are because you got too many things in the pot. So less is more. And so when we can narrow the scope and we can take the opportunity to dissect and then do some surgery. It's some stuff that needs to come out and be replaced with something else. And then it helps us to see a little bit better. We need to change the lens on some stuff, how we're looking at it. What perspective are we looking at it from? Are we looking at it from a practical perspective? We're looking at it from a professional perspective. Are we looking at position versus posture? What is it that we're doing that's causing us to not be able to be clear about your own self? Because if you can't get self together, it's going to be hard for you to impact anybody else. And so self has to be together first, and so this is the thing that I'm going to dive deep on and talk about the framework that'll help you on a daily basis to make sure that you are clear. And so that's clear in your decision making. So you can't even decide to be confident if you don't know who you are, what you're going to be confident about, what you're doing, what you're talking about. So it's this kind of thing that, we have to stand in a boldness. And I think that's one reason why sometimes we have so many challenges because we can't be bold about anything because we have a fragment of stuff. You got a fragment of this, you got a fragment of that. Nothing is whole. And so if we will trim back, stay in our lane, and if we ain't 22, don't be trying to do 22 stuff. Get you a 22 to help you do it, or get a 22 to do it. Be 52, be 42, whatever two you are, be that. And so that helps us because we try to do too much. We try to do too much. So that's why we're not clear. So we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna go deeper. That's the men and the women. 62-year-old men out here trying to be 40. No, you ain't 22 no more, sir. Sit down. Get yourself together. You can be a handsome, fine 62. But be 62. You know, I'm 57. I'm gonna be 57, right? And so thank God I don't look like 57, and I'm all good with that. But at the end of the day,
Okay.
I is 57. So I ain't trying to be 27. So
Oh
it's
my
the thing
gosh.
of being realistically who you are. And when you can encompass that, you can walk in clarity. And so we're gonna cover that, and then Tierney's gonna help us with our mind, make sure our minds are calm and stuff so that people can handle what they're gonna get.
I'm so fired up. I am
So it's
so
going to be
fired up.
amazing.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
it's going to be
Like,
absolutely amazing. And like we said, we got more to offer you on that day. So listen, you want to get in the room. There's vendor opportunities. So if you want to be a vendor, that's a holistic opportunity. If you vend, the vending spaces is 125. And of course, you get access to the actual seminar as well as the opportunity to sell your goods and services. And then, of course, there is another opportunity we're going to have on the table, and then you have the opportunity to speak one-on-one with us coaches after the seminar has concluded during the Q&A session. So we make time for that. So there's a holistic Q&A, and then you have the opportunity to speak to any of the coaches that you desire. So listen, I'm telling you, it's the best $97 you can spend, because if you ain't got your ticket already, you're going to be paying $97. I'm so sorry. But anyway, and you might as well go on and give that, Father, Son, Holy Ghost 3 and make it 100. But anyway, I'm just saying the 97 dollars per person. It's a 4-hour seminar. We're very timely. So we are mindful of your time. And not only that, we are working very diligent to make sure that we're bringing you even more, because your time is very valuable. You can't get it back. You can't get a refund on it, and you cannot repurpose your time. So once it's spent, it's spent. And we want to know that you spent that time well, and we impacted your life in a way that transformation took place in the room and in your mind. And that way you can walk out of there and you can have transformation in your body, your mind, and your spirit. And so we're looking forward to an amazing time there at the Urbane Collective, 1301 Custer Road, Suite 822. And so it's on the backside of the center. So there's a shopping center, there's a pickleball there on the corner of McDonald's. And on the backside of that is where it's an estate sale location just adjacent to the building. So you'll see the signs of Urbane Collective. And in addition to that, you'll want to go to the urbanecollective.net, NET, and click on upcoming events and grab your ticket. Listen, you want to be in the room. I'm telling you, you want to be in the room. So, ladies and gentlemen, be in the room. Bring your spouse, bring your cousin, bring your auntie, your neighbor across the street, cousin them, grandmama and them, anybody, bring them on. It's going to be amazing. And I tell you something else, ladies. In this plight and this time, it is so important that we have a handle on our mental state, but we also have a handle on our health, because everything that's happening around us, if we're not careful, will impact our health. Because there's
Absolutely.
stress, there are things, and I'm telling you, if we to Sean's point, if we can just work together, come together, and know where your resources are, because resources are is just not money, but resources is tapping into people who have the ability to help you, who have the ability to get you information that you need. I'm telling you, it will make a difference. We got to go back to like it was back in the day. That's why I say, I may look young, but we used to go across the street and borrow what we did not have. We would cook dinner for each other. We would make sure that each other had food. And so there are a whole lot of different things. People are trying to live in isolation, and they're in need, and things are happening. And if you don't have family, if you have family, you and your family need to draw closer. You need to go back to having family time, because, the son may need to get the meat, and mama may need to make the greens, and somebody else bring the bread. So if that's how you got to do dinners to get through whatever may be going on and whatever may happen, because we're going to have some turbulence. But at the end of the day, we'll get through it. But this is not a time to be in isolation. This is a time for us to share information, and to educate one another to the best of our ability so that everybody wins because it is a winning opportunity, but we got to do it together. So, ladies,
Yeah, and
any parting thoughts? Anything else
um
y'all want to share, talk about?
I want to add on to what you were saying, just getting back to community.
Yeah,
Neighborhoods used to be neighborhoods,
absolutely.
now it's just a hood. But
Yeah,
if we get back to really helping each other, the community comes back together, we're going to be okay.
yeah, absolutely. Anything else for you, Sean?
Just gonna say, if you're in doubt, come out.
Yep,
If
yep,
if you just got doubts in your mind, like
yep. Show
I
up.
don't know, just come out
Yep,
and see.
absolutely. And this is, like I said, this is what this empowerment circle is about, helping you to be have a voice that's bold, a voice that's confident, a voice that speaks with clarity, and knowing what your voice is. And
Mm,
so, visionary voices, all of us have a vision, and we all have a voice, and we're using these voices to empower um, people and to impact people. And so we want to help you to make sure that you have a megaphone, that your voice can be heard, and what you have to share can be impactful and beneficial to somebody in your environment, in your neighborhood, on your job, in your family, whatever that is, because we all need each other. And whatever it is that God's given you, we need that just like you need whatever God's given us. All right, ladies.
all right.
Well, that wraps it up for this Tuesday motivation and conversation. We want to just come in and just chat for a little bit and talk about what's coming up. We're excited. The previous seminar was amazing, as we've alluded to early on. And so we just wanted to encourage you and invite you once again to the fall seminar, Visionary Voices Empowerment Circle, and the Impact Seminar. And we are just, I'm telling you, we're on 12, not 10, but we're on cloud 12, and we're ready to pour out. We're ready to pour in, and we're looking forward to seeing you in the room. Now, here again, one more time for the road. Get your ticket, get registered, and you can do that at the Urbane, and that is the
The
Urbane
Urbane
Collective.
Collective.
So it's
Got
THEURBANE
collective.
collective.net.
Got you.
Click on upcoming events, and you can find your ticket there as well as the vending opportunity. So there are limited vending spaces, so you don't want to sit on that for too long. You want to go ahead and grab your vending space. But we have space for tickets, so you still have time to get in the room. And like I said, bring somebody with you. I'm telling you, you'll be glad you did, and they'll be glad that you invited them. Well, until next time, we'll see you back here for Tuesday Motivation and Conversation.